Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Webcast Wednesday. I hope everyone's keeping well. If today is the first time that you've attended one of our webinars, then many thanks for registering. I hope you find it useful. The idea behind these sessions is hopefully to provide you with a short session, around 30 to 40 minutes, that's informative and hopefully will leave with a little bit more knowledge than you did before. Now, obviously, these sessions aren't designed to cover all aspects of the topic. There's just too much information there to cover. So it's more of an overview. So if there's something that I don't cover today, then please do drop me a message. My contact details are on the screen now, but I'll also have them at the end as well. Or you can get in touch with the local area sales manager. And between us, we can either then come back to you directly or we can arrange more training, but we can try and answer any questions that you might have. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Emma Ryde. I'm the product manager here at Rittal UK for industrial and IT enclosures. I work alongside 3 of the product managers who also run their own webcasts in their own specialist areas. So do look out for the invites on these on social media platforms in case there's anything that's of interest to yourselves. So in today's webcast, what I want to introduce to you is the new VXIT rack, which is being launched in the UK this week. During the webcast, we're going to cover some of the main features and benefits of the new rack, and we're also going to look at the VXIT Configurator. Now, the Configurator is a fantastic tool that's available to you free of charge. It will help you select your rack and the relevant accessories. It also offers the opportunity to get quotations for pre-configured racks. And it's something that we already have on the industrial sector of our business when we are looking at specifying floor standing enclosures and accessories, wall-mounted enclosures. It's proved to be hugely successful. So I'm pleased that we can now introduce this to our IT customer base as well. So firstly, many of you may be wondering why we've made the change from the TSIT rack to the VXIT rack. For those of you that's been with Rittal some time and are aware of the product ranges, TS8 was always the base platform for our floor standing enclosures and racks. When we refer to TS8, this is the name and the design of the actual frame of the enclosure. And this frame is used in both our industrial style enclosures that are fitted with things such as a mounting plate and are generally used as control panels, but the same frame was also used within the IT racks, hence TSIT. Effectively, the way we determine whether it's an industrial application or IT application is based on what's bolted either onto the frame itself or what's put inside the enclosure or the rack. That generally tends to determine whether it's an industrial or an IT rack. But by using the same frame within both ranges, means that accessories are interchangeable. It means the enclosure or the rack's more versatile for applications in both those areas. So they can, the IT rack can use an industrial and vice versa. And it just brings ease of use to the users. You become more familiar with the products and then the accessories. So the TSA was initially released back in the late 90s, so it's over 20 years old. And whilst it's widely recognised as being the market leader, Rittal do firmly believe in innovation and progression. And it got to a point where we felt that we could actually offer more benefits to the user by really looking at the design of the frame, despite it still being such a successful enclosure. So after some 5 years in development, the new frame, the VX25 was launched in 2018, and it was initially rolled out to the industrial sector of the business first. Now, the VX25, it's been hugely successful, and our millionth VX rolled off the production line at the beginning of this year. When we launched the VX back in 2018, the ability to offer this in both the industrial and IT markets at the same time, it wasn't possible. If you can imagine, all of the compatible parts that work with the enclosure frame need to be redesigned to fit obviously the new frame. And obviously this is a huge undertaking, so therefore we took the decision to do this one range at a time. During that time, we've then developed the VXIT and its accessories. And the VXIT will now be the standard offering, again, because of its versatility, its ability to work alongside industrial products as well. So things such as our Bluey Plus cooling range, it means it's ideal for all solutions, from an edge solution that may be required in a manufacturing environment through to cloud, hyperscalers and colo. So the VX frame now stands across both sectors, the industrial and the IT, and again, we can interchange these between both markets. So to show you in a little more detail the actual product itself, I'm just going to run a short video which will give you a brief overview. So that's just a very brief overview, but I wanted to touch on a few of the accessories in a little bit more detail, things that's new to the portfolio. As I mentioned at the beginning of the webcast, these sessions aren't designed to cover everything. So again, if you want more information or detail on something I either haven't covered throughout this, or something that you have seen, you want some more information, and again, please just get in touch. So one of the first accessories that's new to the range is the vertically divided side panels. So whilst we still have the full side panels and the horizontal split side panels, so the one that's either screw fitted or the ones where the lockable ones, then we have got this new version. You've still got the old ones, but due to the fact that it's quite time consuming to take these off, but then you're also left with quite a large loose item. You've either got to stand next to the rack, you've got to try and ensure it doesn't get damaged whilst you're working inside the rack, we've then come up with the new version, the vertically divided one. So this option comprises of a central bar, and then the two panels are hinged from the central bar. They're very, very easy to install. I know this as I fitted some myself a couple of weeks ago on our rack that we have in our showroom. They're very secure once they're fitted, and they've actually got an internal latch. So once you actually close each side of the side panel, they click shut. The only way that these can be accessed and opened again is by access from inside the rack. So again, from a security perspective, anyone that has access to the rack are the only people then that can actually open the side panel as well. So you can't open these from the outside. However, because they're hinged, it does mean it's extremely easy to gain access into the panel, then to do whatever type of cabling or networking it is that you need to do, and then simply close them. So you don't have to take any loose items off the actual rack itself. So again, it's a great addition into the range. Another new design that we've got is the new cable tray. So this product comes in two different widths and heights. The new design of how this is fitted again is extremely easy. So due to the quick fasteners that we have, that you can see them slightly here, the four little fasteners there in the image. Unfortunately, it's not that clear. But these items mean that they can actually fit the components to the frame and then the cable tray to the location parts, just using the quick fasteners. Now, you always have the option to mechanically fit parts, as we can see in the image on the right, but where it's not necessary, then the quick fasteners really do save time. Again, having personally fitted these items, and it can be done literally in minutes. The new design of the cutouts as well on the cable tray, these all provide a great time saving when installing items, for instance, such as a PDU. The keyhole cutout that's now incorporated into the tray means that PDUs simply slot into this. You take the PDU out of the box, the fix on the back fits directly into the keyhole. So again, it is so easy to fit these parts. All of these designs are really there for making things as simple and effective, self-explanatory and great time savings. That's the idea behind these new innovations. One thing that you may have seen on the video again that's new into the portfolio and the range is the automatic door opening. So the idea behind this, effectively, it's a door within a door option. Small internal doors are operated by door magnets. And again, these can be used in conjunction with our CMC system. So if the CMC system detects that the cooling has failed, then the small doors within the large door will actually open and obviously eradicate some of the heat. The CMC can also be connected to the fire suppression systems in the IT room. So again, if there's an issue with a fire, for instance, and the fire suppression gases are activated, then again, the small doors can be opened so that the gas filters into the racks themselves. And again, as the smaller doors within the main door, these are the ones that open. And again, so there's no restriction to escape routes, obviously in a confined space such as canal containment, for instance. So again, a new addition into the range, extremely effective, and can be used again in conjunction with our CMC systems. And one last new feature that I want to mention is the new door hinge arrangement. So we'll talk about ease of use, and in this case, the new hinge has been designed to allow for one-man assembly. And again, this brings with it time savings. But as the hinge now has a location pin, it means the doors can be literally lifted off, and they're taken off by one person and can be put back on by one person. The previous hinge meant two people required to remove the doors and reinstall, but we can see here now that it's just a one-person job. As with TS8 hinges, the doors can be hinged on either the left or the right hand side. Obviously the handle then needs to be removed to ensure it's working the right way up. But as with our VX25 enclosures, this is now a toolless to remove the handle and to reinstall it. All we simply do, we pop out the pin in the back of the handle. We can see here on the instructions. We take the handle off, And then with the handle in its open position, we offer it back up to the door, to location points, and then we simply close the handle and that will lock it back into place. So we do have this design on the standard industrial VX25 enclosure. So again, it's about familiarity, about using the same innovations across both ranges. Something the VXIT right now offers is 2 options on loading of the 19-inch frames. So whilst these are worded static and dynamic, then it's not dynamic in the true sense of the word, as some of you will think. Some of this is due to the translation of the wording. However, what it effectively means is that the standard 19-inch angles are able to take a loading of 1,200 kilos, and the dynamic angles, with just slightly different design and a thicker material, can take up to a 1,500 kilo loading. Moving forward, one thing that we want to offer customers is the ability for shorter lead times. So therefore, with standard build racks, which typically incorporate most sizes, have the 19-inch profiles fitted and different door options such as vented, glazed and split doors, these will now be kept in stock in the UK along with the most common accessories as well, such as casters, leveling feet, side panels, air baffles, etc. But what this will mean to you is a 24 to 48 hour delivery depending on what time of day you actually place that order. So there's a number of different sizes available to yourself. Again, we'll see this as we work through the configurator, because this will give us an idea on lead times. We still have the ability to offer pre-configured cabinets for a specific build. However, as you would expect, these will be on a slightly longer lead time. So anything where we're looking at standard parts, but it's not a configuration we offer off the shelf, we can create this to you. And we can also look at customizations. When we look at customizations, what we mean by this is things such as specific colours, for instance, or a specific size cabinet that we don't offer in the range. What I want to do now is take you through the configurator, which will help, as I mentioned, not only the selection of the rack, but it will also give you an idea and details on lead times as well. So the configurator is designed to help you select the rack, the relevant accessories. It also allows you to visualize the products and it creates bills of materials. So the configurator is there to try and eliminate, to a certain extent, the potential for human error. So when selecting accessories, for instance, the configurator will only show accessories that are designed to fit that specific rack. This reduces the number of errors when selecting parts on the website or the catalogue. It can also offer accessories which you may not have considered or that you need. And one of the big time savings, like I say, is not having to search for parts and part numbers again, either on the web or in the brochure. So the VXIT configurator is on our website. As we're only launching the VXIT this week, then the configurator at the moment is linked to our configurator on the Rittal.com. So when you use our website, there is a Rittal UK version, but the configurator at the moment is linked to the Rittal.com one. The difference in these will be, in the next few weeks, the configurator for the UK will also add in details on lead times specific to UK. So on the .com version at the moment, these lead times are based on stock in Germany, out to customers in Germany. So in the next week or two, you'll see it change into the UK stock. And also there'll be a function on there as well called add to cart. So as you're purchasing, as you're working through your configuration, what you'll do at the end is there'll be an add to cart function. You can simply click on this, it will put it into our web shop, and then you'll be able to buy the parts online. But again, I'll talk you through this as we go through the configurator. So this is going to take you straight to the configurator. So as I mentioned before, this is the .com one at the moment, but the differences are minimal. So anything that you see on here, then you'll be able to understand from the UK version as well. So it's fairly self-explanatory. It's just a simple walkthrough process on what it is that we're going to do. But if we look at the first sheet, here we have our options on racks at the moment. So there's all the different types of sizes and variants of rack on there with potential lead times as well. Now we can either search by simply scrolling down this list. We can type in a part number here, or we can choose from the drop-down menus. So for as an example today, I'm simply going to pick an 800 wide, a 42U, and a 1000 deep rack. And what you'll see straight away, the list has been reduced significantly. So when we talk about the lead times, as mentioned, this is down to the .com website at the moment, but it won't change too drastically. We can see the small key here. So anything with a green van means a 24-hour delivery. So when this comes to the UK website, what it will show is a 24-hour delivery. It could be 48 hours if you place your order after the cut-off point. But what this essentially means is this item is in stock on the shelf and we'll get that to you within 24 to 48 hours. At the moment, the yellow van on there, it says up to 15 working days. Now, what this is for, it's for pre-configured racks. If you see a rack on here that's in stock, but then you need a number of different accessories and you want those to come fitted, then there's 15 working days here. However, we then have to allow for transport time from that coming out of our GDC centre in Germany. So it's going to be a slightly longer lead time than 15 days. And the 25 working day there option, that's going to be for complete customisations. And again, it would be slightly longer than 25 working days because we've got to allow for transport time. However, when you look at the UK version, these lead times will be adjusted. So we can see the lead times there. So this item is in stock. We're now going to narrow this down a little bit further. So the type of door design. So on here, I want a vented front door. So we select this, and again, we reduce the number of racks we have. I want to split vented vertically. So again, we can choose the different types of roof plates if we want, or the different types of bases, this option. I'm going to pick my 19-inch angles, and I want the standard ones. Okay, and I'm now left with two options. So on here, I'm going to select the first one. The great thing about this is you'll be able to visually see throughout all of the build of what the parts are that you're selecting. So we can see now, this is our rack. We can manipulate this to look at it from different angles. We can see that we've got the split rear doors in there, and we can see that it comes fitted as well with the comfort handles again. So it's just confirming what components we're actually going to get with that build. We can see how the 19-inch angles are fitted, types of bracketry that's in there. So again, we're happy with that selection. What we're now going to do is look at the accessories. So we simply click next. The nice thing to remember about this is it's a configurator. You can't break anything. So if you're working through a configuration, you can amend things, you can change things as you're working through it. But again, you can't break it. So please jump online and have a play around with it. It's all quite self-explanatory. This video will be uploaded as well to our YouTube channel, and I'm putting our website in the next few days as well. Again, so if you want to refresh yourself on how to use this, by all means, jump onto this webcast and you can run through the example again. When we get the accessories, the first sheet is our most commonly used accessories. So where people always need a set of side panels, for instance, if they're just wanting the rack and side panels, they can simply add these and move straight to the summary at the end. But this is where we talk about the time savings. We're not having to look for side panels in terms of looking for the part numbers, have I selected the right ones. The system knows this. So the system knows that this is a 42U 1000 deep rack. So when it asks for side panels, it will automatically know which ones to pick. The only thing I need to choose is which type of side panel. So as an example, because we've already spoken about them, we'll look at the vertically divided side panels. And all we simply need to do is add. That's it. We don't have to put a part number in. That will add it, and the system will add it with the configuration at the end. And in a moment, on the right-hand side, you will see that it adds the accessory, and we'll be able to have a look at this in further detail. As you're working through this and you start adding accessories, not all accessories will be added to the image you can see there on the right-hand side. The reason for this is some accessories that fit mainly to the frame or on the cladding, so side panels, doors, roof, for instance, these can be put onto this image here. The reason for that is there's no other options on how you would fit these. When we start looking at accessories that fit inside the actual, for instance, on the 19-inch frame, these don't show as being fitted. The reason for this is there's so many variables on customer options. The chance of putting every option in there is nigh on impossible. And also that then becomes very, very difficult to manage. And that really is more of a drawing software package then. And this is actually a configurator. So there's some things, it does have its limitations, but it's still a fantastic tool to use. So we can see here, it's put our side panels on in green. These are the new ones, as we mentioned before, the vertically divided side panels. Again, if we want to do that in a little bit more detail, we can just take away some of the other information that's on here, such as the door, the rear doors, the roof, just to be able to get a better view in here. We can see, as I mentioned before, we talked about the internal latches. So we can see that they are here. So you can see these are the latches that's inside. So again, you can just visualize what these parts are. Another great tool on this as well is if you want a little bit more information, so you've selected those parts, but actually you want to know, do they come in a pack of 2? Do we just get 1? What's the article weight? We can click article information. And what that does, it opens up in a new tab and it will give us a PDF sheet on that part itself. So again, we can see here, those are the side panels. I've got all the information there that I need about what the supply is included with, the details, the weight, anything that I need to know is there. So again, this is a great document then that you can see straight away visually, and you can use that then in part of the tender process. So again, you can just collect all this information for a quotation. So if we're scrolling down here, down the other accessories, we have things such as the cable tray, LED lights. We can change the different types of lock cylinders, the different types of handles. We can put PDUs in. Again, some of the more common accessories, such as cable shunting rings, air baffles. So if we select some air baffles as well here, so if I select the air baffles that are to be used without an LCP, sorry, I've selected the wrong one on there. I'll just amend that one. And again, we simply just add these to our configuration. So it's now just adding it into the build. We can see on the large view there that these have been added. So we now have the air baffles in, and now I want to move on to further accessories. So whilst these are the most common ones, you then have the option to add more accessories in. We simply click the select further accessories button. So what I want to do on here, I'm looking for some levelling feet. So again, on the base and plinth section, I can click the levelling feet and casters. Number of different options here. Whichever one we click on, we'll get a visual on the right hand side again, so you can see what parts you're selecting, and I'm going to go for the levelling feet. And again, as mentioned before, this is great in terms of clicking on the article information, and it'll tell me what pack size I get, so that I know how many to add into my build. So for instance here, it tells me the supply includes 4 feet, so therefore I know that I only need to add 1 pack in here, and all we do is we click confirm, and that adds that into our selection. What then I want to show you is things such as a nice tool that the system does for us. If we were to add something such as a rail system, so a piece of punch section, which again is quite commonly used. Now the punch section tends to fit on the actual frame of the enclosure itself, so the VX frame, it fits on here. So the first thing it says to me is, where would you like to fit this accessory? So I'm going to say that I want to fit it on the frame, on the inner frame. So again, like with the TSA, we have an inner and an outer level of the frame. So if we say on the frame, on the right, on the inside, okay, the punch section, it shows on the right hand side here, the image. But what the system's telling me is the accessory cannot be added because it collides. So if I were to use this part on the inner level, then it collides with the air baffles. So again, this is a great tool in terms of potentially thinking that you can use this part for something and then finding out once you actually get the components that you can't, and then having to rethink about the design or your build. You're getting this information up front. So again, it's just time savings, things to assist you with. It's saying here, right, I can't use this punch section in this instance because it clashes with the baffles. Okay, let's fit that on the outside of the frame then instead. But what it's going to tell us now is that it clashes with this particular side panel. So the vertically divided side panels, because of the centre bar, then we can't use that. So this may be where then we decide to either use a different type of internal fitting, or we change the type of side panels. Again, it's all just about trying to make this life a little bit easier for you in terms of your actual build. So I'm just going to get rid of those. And what we're going to do, we'll go to the configuration at the end. So I'm going to go to the summary of our build. So you can either click through here, just through on the next button, or we can simply use the left-hand side toolbar to the configuration. And what we'll see is a parts list, and there's a number of different ways we can use the parts list, and there's also a number of different ways we're going to get information from this configurator as well. So at this moment in time, it's saying, okay, this is the rack that we've picked, and it's a stocked item, so we can have that in 24 to 48 hours. And the accessories that I've picked as well here, these are all stocked items as well, which is great news. We can amend these if we want by using this little edit button here. So if we wanted to delete a side panel off or the air baffles and then go back and select more accessories, we can do. Just simply delete these out. Or we could then move forward with this. So options here are, we can get a parts list. So this would download it as a CSV file that you can use as an Excel spreadsheet. So again, if you need to put that into part of your ERP system or pass that to a colleague, we can do. We can simply print the page that we've got in front of us. So again, we have all the information there. On the right hand side here, the icons at the top, we can save the configuration that we've done, but we have an option here as well in terms of opening other configurations. If moving forward we supply a VXIT rack that's pre-configured, then what we will have done is we'll give you an order number. You can simply type that order number in here and it will load the configuration that we supplied. So again, that's a great way of looking back on previous orders. You can see the configuration that was done. And that's the same with quotations. If we supply a quotation on the VXIT and it's pre-configured, we'll give you a specific wire reference. And again, you can take that wire reference from our office and then you can see what's been quoted, just to make sure that you're happy with the build. And then we have the option, obviously, just to simply reopen the configuration file that we've created. Well, the other two ones that I wanted to look at was, if you do want not just the accessories to come loose, you want this as a pre-configured option, we can request a quote. That would go through to our offices in the UK. Obviously, we just need a little bit of detail from yourselves in there. And then if you just put the comment on there, please quote pre-configured, then the office can do that and provide you with a cost and a lead time based on the specification that you've given them. If you want all of the information here, what we've drawn up today, then what you can do is you can click on Get Technical Data. Now, what this does, this is really important. This is where you can determine how you want that, whether you want it sent to yourself or you want it sent to a colleague. So all I tend to do is whenever I've drawn a configuration, then I tend to put my email address in here. I send that to myself, and then I'm going to show you what information it is that you would actually get from this. So when you've selected Get Technical Data, what you receive is an email like this. On this email, it lists the information that you're provided with, and it also gives you a download link. If you click on the download link, it will then give you different files of information. So if I were to look at the 3D step file on there, sorry, the 3D file on there, for instance, not only would I get the 3D step file of the configuration that I've done, but I'd also get that in a PDF format. Now that's great if you need to send your drawing, your design onto somebody else that doesn't have any form of CAD package to be able to open it in. You can send them the PDF version instead. And you also get the PDF parts list, for instance, and the different component builds. So you get a number of different options that's in this. For those of you who work with our sister company ePlan, then you'd also receive the ePlan file as well. So you'd get the ePlan files, you get the Excel bill of materials, you also get the actual configuration file, again, that can be loaded into Configurator. So there's a wealth of information there that it provides you with. The Configurator is a fantastic tool, but like I said, there are things you can't do in regards to certain types of builds. And as I mentioned, it's purely down to so many variables when fitting accessories. These don't show on the actual build itself. However, they are as part of your overall configuration, and they are there in the bills of materials. But again, we want to keep this Configurator as a free of charge tool for you. So again, it is a Configurator, it's not a drawing software package. So I've covered what I wanted to cover today on the VXIT and the software. I hope you found the webcast useful. So if you do want to watch it again in regards to any of the information or the demonstration on the Configurator, then you'll see it uploaded in the next few days to the Rittal UK YouTube channel. This channel's got a wealth of information on it. We upload all our webinars, frequently asked questions, hints and tips. There's also all of the how-to videos as well. So if you're trying to understand how to fit a part, such as a cable tray, or you want to change the hinge arrangement on the door from left to right, for instance, then jump on the YouTube channel, you'll find them all on there. Another area is the blog section of the website. So again, you'll find information on webinars, white papers, application stories. So again, it's a great source of information. And then there's also the actual website itself. Again, if you jump on there at the moment, the moving banner on there shows the VXIT rack, and you can click on further details. And again, you'll find instruction manuals on there, how-to videos, you'll find other webcasts on there as well. And lastly, if training on the Configurator is of interest and you'd like to delve into it in more depth, then please get in touch. It can be conducted either by myself or your local area sales manager. And again, we can do this virtually or face-to-face, whichever works best for you. Thank you for your time. I hope you found it useful. Any question, please do email them in to me or get in contact with your local area representative, and we'll try to answer what we can. Many thanks.